Been married 9 years, together for 11. We're that couple people describe as solid. You know, the ones who always show up to barbecues with matching beers and inside jokes that make everyone else uncomfortable. No kids, 2 cats, steady jobs, sex life was decent enough. We fought occasionally, mostly about dumb stuff, who left the wet towel on the bed, whether pineapple on pizza is an abomination, it is, but I'm not here to debate theology. Lately, though, I'd been noticing shifts. Nothing huge, just a vibe. She got weirdly possessive with her phone, like doing the OL upside-down screen on the table move, taking it into the bathroom, sleeping with it under her pillow. Said she was finally respecting her own digital boundaries. Cute. She also started going out more with her new work friends. Mostly girls, sometimes mixed groups. And I wanted to be that cool, secure guy, so I smiled, told her to have fun, and kept the fridge stocked with White Claws for her return. But deep down, I felt it. That creeping, gut-level knowing. Like when you walk into a room and forget why you're there, except in this case the room is your marriage, and the answer is, oh, right, she might be sleeping with someone else. I didn't want to snoop. I swear I didn't. I wanted to trust her. But let's just say curiosity didn't kill the cat. It gutted the marriage. So about a month ago, she tells me she's going to a networking happy hour with her coworker Brandy. Brandy's one of those types who talks with her hands and laughs like she's trying to summon demons. I wasn't thrilled, but I said sure, have fun. She comes back 4 hours later, smells like tequila and betrayal, plops down on the couch like she just ran a marathon in stilettos, and casually drops, I ran into an old friend from college, small world. No name. No details. No eye contact. I ask who, and she says, oh just some guy, Kyle or Kevin or something. I don't even remember. He's married anyway. Her voice did this little dip at the end, like she was trying to bury the sentence before it finished coming out of her mouth. I raised an eyebrow but let it slide. Over the next few days, I noticed she started texting more. Laughing at her phone. The same damn way she used to laugh at my texts when we first started dating. Then she started sleeping with her back to me, every night. If you've ever been married, you know that back turn at bedtime is a silent goddamn declaration of war. The final nudge came from the cats. Seriously. Our cats, normally obsessed with her, started sleeping in my office instead. Like even they were like, dude, something's off. So yeah. I decided to do the thing I told myself I'd never do. I snooped. And holy hell. I waited until she left for hot yoga. Which, based on the evidence I was about to uncover, was probably just code for stretching on Kyle's bed. I didn't even mean to dig deep. I opened her laptop to check an email she asked me to print for our insurance, and boom, her iMessages were open. Like a digital crime scene left on display. First thing I see is a message from someone saved as, Kev clinking glasses fire. Real subtle. He sends her a photo of his abs, mediocre, if we're being honest, and she replies, God, you're such a tease. I needed that today, face blowing a kiss. Needed that? Another thread had her talking to Brandy about the hotel. That's how she referred to it. No name. Just the hotel. She wrote. I don't think he suspects anything. We were careful. And damn, that man knows what he's doing with his hands. I forgot what that felt like. I read that line 5 times. The worst part? The timestamp. That message was sent the same night she came home drunk and told me she'd run into some random college buddy. I sat there, feeling like someone had turned the gravity up in the room. I couldn't breathe right. Couldn't even get mad yet. Just numb. Betrayal isn't loud, not at first. It's quiet. It shows up like a whisper in the back of your skull saying, hey buddy, turns out you were the punchline. I closed the laptop, walked into the kitchen, and stared at the fridge. For some reason, I opened it. Like maybe if I looked long enough, there'd be answers hiding behind the almond milk. Nothing. Just the cold hum of reality settling in. She got home an hour later, glowing from hot yoga like she'd just discovered inner peace and outer thigh gaps. I played it cool. Asked how the class was. She said it was transformative. I nodded, biting down on the irony like a bullet. Then I asked, deadpan, so, how's Kev? Her whole face twitched like someone flipped a switch behind her eyes. She blinked, cocked her head, and asked, who? That's when I knew. Not suspected, knew. Because if someone accuses you of knowing a guy named Kev and you don't, you say, what the hell are you talking about? But when you do know him, you pretend you forgot. Badly. So I walked to her laptop, opened the screen, and spun it toward her. I said nothing. She stared. Blinked. Then gave me the most insulting line I've ever heard come out of a human mouth. You weren't supposed to see that. Not, I'm sorry. Not, it's not what it looks like. Just that. Like it was my fault I walked into a damn emotional landmine on my own property. Then came the waterworks. Full Niagara. It meant nothing, she sobbed. I was drunk, and I felt invisible. You've been so distant lately. I let her talk. She flailed. Reached for the usual clichés like a drowning person grabbing at air. She blamed work stress. Hormones. Our lack of emotional connection. Said she never meant to hurt me. I asked her one question, how long? She hesitated. That half-second pause that tells you everything. A couple of months, she finally said. 2 months. While we were planning our anniversary getaway. While I was cooking her damn favorite pasta on Friday nights. While she was kissing me goodnight and whispering, I love you. You ever get hit so hard emotionally that your body just detaches? That's what happened to me after she said, a couple of months. I didn't yell. Didn't throw anything. I just sat down at the kitchen table, suddenly very aware of how sticky the surface was. Probably maple syrup from Sunday pancakes, back when I thought Sunday morning still meant something. She kept talking. Apologizing. Crying. Saying the word mistake so many times it lost all meaning. Mistake is dropping your phone in the toilet. Mistake is sending a risky text to the wrong group chat. You don't accidentally end up naked in a hotel bed with Kev the abs guy on multiple occasions. I wasn't even sad at that moment. I felt like I was watching someone else's life unravel, like I'd slipped into a parallel universe where my wife was some cold, manipulative stranger and I was just the guy who paid the mortgage. She said, I love you, which made me laugh. It just came out, reflexively, like a cough. And then I said, you love me, but you've been sleeping with Kevin for 2 months and gaslighting me the whole time? She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it again. I went upstairs, took a long shower, and stared at the tiles until the water ran cold. I tried to picture the moment she made the choice, the second she leaned in and crossed the line. And all I could think was, where the hell was I when my marriage checked out? That night, I slept in the guest room. Well, laid there, anyway. The next morning felt like a funeral. Not loud or messy, just quiet, heavy, and suffocating in that very specific way only heartbreak can manage. She made coffee like it was just another Wednesday. Asked if I wanted toast. Toast. Like I could choose something when my whole life felt like it had been punched in the throat. I said no thanks. She nodded, looked at her phone, probably muscle memory at this point, then put it face down. Too late for that, sweetheart. We went through the motions like roommates who just found a body under the floorboards but didn't know who should call it in. I packed a small bag, just essentials, and told her I needed some space. She asked if that meant we were separating. I said, no. Not yet. But we're definitely not just married anymore. She cried again. This time it felt more about fear than guilt. And I realized right then, this wasn't about her being unhappy. This was about her not thinking she'd get caught. She didn't plan for consequences. Just thrills and deleted texts. I stayed with my brother for a few days. Crashed on his couch, listened to him tell me, "Bro, you deserve better," in between Call of Duty matches and microwave burritos. I appreciated it, even if the wisdom came with a side of Dorito dust. And every night I laid there in the dark thinking, what the hell happened to us? A funny thing happens when you're alone with your thoughts long enough, they stop shouting and start whispering. And whispers are worse, because you can't yell back. I started going back over everything. Not just the affair, but the years leading up to it. The red flags I called quirks. The emotional distance I chalked up to stress. The way she used to compliment me, and then gradually shifted to critiquing me, subtly, but consistently, my work schedule, my jokes, even how I folded laundry. That part stung the most. You don't fall out of love all at once. It's a slow erosion. And I'd watched it happen with my damn eyes and still told myself, she's just tired. I guess I was tired too. Tired of excusing things. Tired of pretending sarcasm was affection. Tired of being in a marriage that only seemed to function when I wasn't looking too hard. I didn't spy on her phone again. Didn't even need to. I knew enough. What more evidence did I want? A written confession in blood? A Yelp review of Kev's bedroom skills? One night at my brother's, I stared at the ceiling fan and made a decision. I wasn't going to be the guy begging someone to love him again. I've got flaws, I chew too loud, I zone out during rom-coms, and I leave socks by the bed, but I'm loyal. I show up. And I damn sure deserve better than half-truths and late-night meetups in hotel lobbies. After 4 days, I came home. Not to fix things, but because it's my damn house too, and I wasn't about to let her keep walking around in yoga pants acting like she lived at a spa. When I walked in, she looked startled, like she didn't expect I'd actually come back. I dropped my bag in the hallway, looked her in the eye, and said, "We need to talk." And no, this isn't a "what can we do to heal" talk. This is a "you answer questions and I decide if I'm staying married" talk. She nodded, small, like she was trying to make herself physically smaller in that moment. Guilt makes people shrink. I asked about the timeline. The first time. How many times? Where? Her answers were grossly honest. Like she figured if she laid it all out, I'd see it as transparency instead of damage control. It started at the conference mixer. We had drinks, one thing led to another, and it just happened. Nah, lady. Keys don't just slip into locks. That was a conscious, repeated choice. Then she told me she ended it weeks ago. Because I realized I didn't want to lose you. How convenient, she stopped sleeping with Kev right around the time I started noticing. I asked if she would have told me if I hadn't snooped. She looked down. Said, no. I was going to take it to the grave. There it was. Truth, raw and hideous. That's when I knew, this wasn't just about cheating. It was about disrespect. About cowardice. About looking at someone who trusted you with their whole heart and still choosing to lie, again and again. At some point, you just get tired of the dance. The apologies, the excuses, the endless verbal yoga trying to twist infidelity into an emotional mistake. So I laid it all out, plain and sharp. You didn't cheat because you were sad. You cheated because you were selfish. And you didn't stop because you missed me. You stopped because you got scared. She didn't argue. Just stared at her hands like they might start bleeding truth if she looked long enough. Then she tried the Hail Mary move, suggested we go to counseling. Said maybe this could be the wake-up call we needed. That lots of couples come back stronger after a betrayal. I nodded slowly. Not because I agreed, but because I didn't feel like arguing. In that moment, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was past it. Past the hurt, past the shock, past the begging for clarity phase. You can't fix something when the foundation's rotted out. And ours had been cracked for a while. We just slapped paint over it and hoped no one noticed the mold. I told her I'd think about counseling, which was code for, I need time to plan my exit. Because I was done negotiating with a woman who looked me in the eyes and lied while my heart sat right there on the coffee table, wide open and dumb. I didn't storm out. I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene. I just started packing a few days later, quietly, methodically. Clothes. Laptop. The photo of my late dog. The bourbon she never liked but I always kept. She asked where I was going. I said, somewhere I can breathe. She cried again. I think she thought I'd eventually forgive her, because I've always been the calm one. The fixer. The, let's talk about it, guy. But even a fixer gets tired of duct taping a ship that's already hit the iceberg. She asked if I was done with the marriage. I said, I'm done pretending we're still in one. No theatrics. No threats. Just facts. She asked if I hated her. I said, no. That'd be easier. I'm just disappointed in who you chose to become when I wasn't looking. And man, that hit her. I saw it. That look people get when they realize they're not the victim in the story, they're the villain. I moved in with a buddy for a bit. Not ideal, his apartment smells like weed and hot pockets, but it was peaceful. And it was mine. No lies clinging to the walls like mildew. I didn't call her. She texted once, asking if I'd changed my mind. I hadn't. I wasn't going to. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't just leaving her. I was walking away from who I had to become to stay with someone like that. You don't realize how tense your body's been until you finally relax. That first night away from her, I slept like the dead. No anxiety loops. No lying awake wondering what she was doing on her phone. Just 8 uninterrupted hours of unconscious bliss, drool on the pillow and everything. Woke up to a sliver of sunlight and a cat curled against my chest, my buddy's cat, but hey, it'll do. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like I had to brace myself just to check my phone or walk into the kitchen. The silence wasn't suffocating anymore, it was comforting. I started rebuilding little things. Went back to the gym. Cooked for myself again. Realized I actually like broccoli when it's not boiled to death. I even started laughing again, real laughs, not the tight-lipped ones you give at dinner when you're trying not to seem sad. She sent another message a few days later. Long one. Said she was in therapy. Said she missed me. Said she now truly realized what she'd lost. I didn't respond. Not because I was trying to be cruel. I just didn't owe her a front-row seat to my healing. Truth is, I wasn't healing from her. I was healing from who I'd become trying to make her happy. A couple weeks later, I met her at a cafe to talk. Neutral territory. Public enough to keep it civil, private enough to be real. She looked different, less polished, more human. Wore no makeup. Hair pulled back. I could tell she hadn't been sleeping well, and for a second, I felt that old urge to comfort her. Then I remembered why we were there. She said, I still love you. I nodded. I believe you. But that's not enough anymore. She asked if I was really going through with the divorce. I told her yes. And not because I hate her. Not because I want revenge. Not because I want to run off and become a born-again bachelor with a Tinder bio that says, no drama please. I was doing it because staying would have meant living in a house built on cracks and hoping the roof didn't cave in. She asked if we could still be friends. I told her not now. Maybe one day. But right now, I needed to build something that didn't have her fingerprints on it. She cried. I didn't. Not because I was cold, but because I'd already done my grieving. While she was sneaking out of hotel rooms, I was at home grieving the woman I thought I married. We signed the preliminary paperwork a few days later. It was done. You don't realize how much space a person takes up in your brain until they're gone. At first, everything reminded me of her. The specific way I folded t-shirts, because she made me do it the right way, the mug with a chip in it that she insisted had character, the Spotify algorithm that still thought I liked moody piano ballads. It was like I was living with a ghost, but not the spooky kind, just the annoying, emotionally manipulative kind who left half-empty LaCroix cans on the counter. But then, something shifted. The silence started to feel like peace, not loneliness. I started noticing new things. Like how good it felt to leave my phone on the table and not worry about who's texting who. Or how satisfying it was to binge an entire Netflix show without commentary or judgment. Turns out, I actually liked Emily in Paris. Go figure. I wasn't over it, but I wasn't under it anymore either. People asked if I'd date again. I told them I wasn't in a rush. I wasn't looking for someone to complete me, I was figuring out how to be whole on my own. Because if this whole mess taught me anything, it's that being alone and at peace is way better than being partnered and perpetually second-guessing your worth. To the next guy she dates, if you're reading this somehow, hey man. First of all, good luck. She's charming. She's funny. She'll make you feel like the most fascinating man on the planet, until she's bored. Or insecure. Or just needs a new dopamine hit. She'll talk about how her last relationship ended because we grew apart or he stopped paying attention, and you'll believe her. Because she's good at that. Really good. Like Oscar-worthy. Here's my advice, don't ignore the little things. The back-turned bedtime. The phone she suddenly can't leave in the room. The way every story from her past conveniently paints her as the misunderstood hero. You'll want to believe her, because it's easier. Because she makes you feel lucky just to be chosen. But don't confuse chemistry with character. And if you do find yourself where I was, staring down the reality that the person you love has been lying to your face, walk away with your head high. Don't stay because you're afraid of starting over. Starting over is scary. But staying with someone who doesn't respect you? That's soul rot. You deserve better. I didn't know that for a long time. But I sure as hell do now. So here I am. Single. Not sad, not angry, just clear. If you'd asked me a year ago if I thought this was where I'd end up, I'd have laughed and cracked a joke about how we're ride or die. Turns out, she was more ride until a better offer came along. But I'm not broken. I'm not jaded. I'm not swearing off love or buying a motorcycle and heading west, though tempting. What I am is awake. I've learned that love without respect is just a slow bleed. That peace isn't found in avoiding conflict, it's found in choosing people who make honesty feel safe, not scary. And that trusting someone is a gift, not a guarantee. You give it hoping they'll protect it, not expecting them to smash it and blame the floor. So if you're reading this and you're in that gut-churning place, suspecting, wondering, doubting, listen to your instincts. They're rarely wrong. And if you catch them lying, you already have your answer. Life goes on. So will you. And damn it, so will I. Cheers.